That time in my life during therapy session, I would have never gone to therapy, like an actual therapist, and had
What
a
actually made you
conversation.
go?
Because I was having a mental breakdown. Like I was questioning my life. I was questioning everything.
So, am I to call you NF, Nate, Nathan? What do you prefer?
I don't care, man.
You don't care?
It's Nate?
Nate.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Nate.
All right.
So, I mean, I guess the first thing I gotta do is congratulate you.
What do I call you?
I'm ill will.
Ill will.
Ill
All
will,
right,
man. I need to congratulate you. #1 album, The Search. You beat Chance the Rapper, bro, who was he was meant to be. It was the bookie's favorite. Were you expecting that?
I never know what to expect, man. Putting out music is, I always tell people, like one of the most exciting and most like nerve-wracking times for me, just because I put so much time and like emotion into this thing,
Right.
and then I release it to the world to basically give their opinion of it. And so I love it, but at the same time, I just never know what it's gonna do. So I'm just thankful that the fans showed up and bought the records and excited to tour it.
So it's a case of always expect the unexpected.
Well, here's what I do. I'm a very negative person.
Really?
Yes. So I try to convince myself, if I think the worst will happen, if anything better than the worst happens, I'll feel better.
Okay.
That's actually a lie that I tell myself, but I do kind of live like that sometimes, where I'm like, oh, there is a good chance it won't do good because of this, or this might happen, or whatever. But the truth is, it definitely, like, it's just a hard thing to do sometimes, like putting out an album, especially when it's as personal as it is, or any kind of artist, that I feel like you're putting something out there for everyone to look at and have an opinion of.
Right.
And so it's just kind of sometimes nerve-wracking to do that. But I'm glad that it seems like the fans liked it, and the fan base is growing, and just the shows and stuff, so it's good.
So, I mean, as I just mentioned, Bookie's favorite was Chance to be #1. You managed to get to #1, and there was all this controversy where he went on Twitter to say, that people wanted him to kill himself, all that kind of stuff. Did he reach out to you at all to have a conversation, to congratulate you or anything like that?
No, I don't know him personally, but I will say I feel like the world nowadays is very, I just don't get like the internet anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, people can say whatever they want about him. I don't know him personally, but I think he's a very talented artist. And I think sometimes people get carried away with like stuff they write about people. You know what I mean? If people were writing that kind of stuff about me, and I kind of got my first taste of some of that with this album, it's just, I don't know. I don't like it.
It's
I
dangerous.
don't like it when they do it to other people. I don't like it when they do it to me. So
I mean, it's pretty dangerous.
yeah.
But
I think a lot of people just make it like this joke now, like, well, it's kind of what you signed up for as an artist, and I guess I don't really think of it that way.
I don't understand where the human compassion is in that. Where's that element? And I guess you guys feel the same way.
Well, I think the internet has just become a place where, because everyone can give their opinion, there's no conversations anymore. You know what I mean? It's just like opinions.
One way.
Personally, I don't think people should have been bashing him like they did about his album. If you don't like an album, I mean, I'm not going to go on someone's page as an adult and
Right.
like, I know it's not just adults, but I'm not going to go on someone's page and be like, your album was terrible.
Right.
Ever. Like that. I personally like that people don't know who I am to some extent. But I mean, this was actually a shock to me, coming here and playing Germany for like
Really?
4,000 people. Yeah, because I don't come here that often, and so to be able to travel the world and do that. But in this, even in the U.S., I think if you walk around I was just telling someone this the other day, if you went to like a city, maybe I'm not playing a show there, and you walked into a restaurant and you were like, hey, have you ever heard of NF? I think most people would be like, who? They wouldn't know.
Maybe.
But I could go, no, I'm telling you, man. But if I went there and played a show, maybe 3,000 to 5,000 people or more, depending on the city, would come to the show. And so I don't mind that. I like not doing tons of this kind of stuff like press, but still being able to be an artist and do the stuff that I love to do.
Well, we love being able to do this with you.
Yeah.
We love having this conversation with you.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying in general, it's just something for me. When I put out my album Perception a couple years ago, I had never experienced interviews, like really. Not like real interviews. So when I started doing radio interviews and stuff, I was like, I don't know, man. It was just a weird experience for me, and it was exhausting. I'd never toured that much. I'd never answered the same questions every day or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm also like a pretty deep person, so sometimes I was like, oh man, I wish like if I'm doing interviews, it could go deeper, things like that, you know. So that was just like a stressful, different experience for me altogether. But back to your original question, which I don't remember exactly what it was because we got off of it. But
we're talking about you being an underdog.
Yeah, I think sometimes maybe I am the underdog or just the overlooked artist, and I'm fine with that. At this point, I'm getting to a place now where I'm just like, I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. I think the fans love it, and that's what matters. So
You've mentioned it a few times already that you're quite deep, and obviously listening to your music, you know that, and a lot of it is very vulnerable. Is there ever a point where you just think to yourself, do you know what, I really shouldn't be putting this out, or you're scared to? Or was there a point and somehow you managed to kick the doors down and just be like, you know what, I'm gonna do this? Because it's obviously working.
I think being 28 now, as you get older, you look at life differently. So the only thing I would say is, I don't know if there's like massive regrets or anything too specific that I would go into, but I would just say it is interesting to me. Like when you are an artist and you write music, or if you're a person who writes journals about your life or books or whatever it is, it really is like, that's kind of what music is for me. When I go back and listen to my first album, which I don't do very much at all, but every once in a while, like probably once in the past year, I like went back and listened to my old music and I was like, oh my God, this is like...
That was something I wanted to get into, but you're already going there.
Yeah, no, like, but it is like a journal of my life. And sometimes I might listen to something and be like, I feel like I didn't understand this then, or why did I say that like this? Do I feel that way this way anymore? Is this, you know what I mean? An example would be the song about my mom dying when I was like 18 years old. The song that I wrote, I don't regret writing it. Still emotional to listen to. I don't know how old I was when I put that out. Maybe I was like 24, 25. I'm not sure. But being 28 now, looking at that song, I think I just look at that differently.
Right.
That scenario. So I wouldn't say I regret the song. I would say I have more empathy and compassion for my mom than I did when I wrote the song. You know, I felt sad when I wrote the song, but also a lot of anger mixed in, and I think I still have some of those emotions for sure. But now...
Well, it's evident on the new album, because there's the record where you cry at the end talking about your mom.
Yeah. So, that was one of the most emotional songs I'd ever written. And now it's just kind of like, I think because I'm older and I look at life with more of an open mind instead of just what I'm thinking all the time. And I look at that scenario and I think about my mom and like her position that she was in. You know what I mean? So a lot of people, I think, get addicted to things because they're running from something. And I don't know everything, personal about my mom, but I just have a lot more like empathy and compassion because I think my mom had a lot of things she struggled with inside, and I kind of related to my own life doing this as a career and like having one of the roughest mental years last year of my life,
I mean, so just like to interject with a side note, that's why I relate to your music so much, because I have my own issues with my own mother who has an addiction. So it's like a thank you to you being able to actually express those types of things, because some of us aren't able to do that and convey it in the way that you do. Yeah. So it is appreciated. And I'm sure you hear that from fans all the time. Yeah,
I think for me it's just, my mom's, maybe your mom's still alive or whatever.
She is.
Yeah, so, and maybe even though she is, you're not able to have conversations. But I just, sometimes the way I think about it, and I would tell people, and I don't know your situation, so maybe this doesn't work at all, but if my mom was here, I would want to, I just wish I could have like an adult conversation.
Right.
Where like, when she died, I was 18 years old or whatever I was exactly. Like I wasn't in a place where I could have ever had legit conversations about life, about, you know what I mean? Because I'm 28 now and I still am trying to figure out who I am. You know, my album's called The Search.
Yeah.
Like
you're still searching.
Yeah, it's like I think everyone in life is looking and searching for something, even if you don't know exactly what it is. You know, whether it's God or it's your, like, you're trying to figure out your job, or you're trying to figure out who you are and who you want to be, or who you want to, you know, do you want to get married? Do you want whatever? Like every single person, every person in this room, every person in life is like working towards something. And I think one thing I would tell a lot of people, one of the most depressing times of my entire life in the process of writing this album was like after I dropped Perception, and then I was touring and I was doing all these interviews, and I got a #1 on Billboard. It was great timing for me when I put it out, but still I ended up getting a #1 on Billboard, and everything, and my tour sold out. Like I was doing all these things that I dreamed of my whole life. I just did not feel happy about it. And I think that's one of the lowest, that was the lowest point of my whole life, because